Hello everyone, this is part 23 of What If Naruto was banished and becomes Master Swordsman, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Stadium. Aizu watched as Tsunade continued to power up. At least this was the conclusion he came to watching her and feeling her chakra increase. Finally, she would go all out. This was great in his eyes. He would now show her, Senzaru, and everyone else watching, how utterly hopeless their fight has been. The flames that Aizu generated danced around his body. He was waiting for Tsunade to attack. Her impulsive nature almost warranted that she attack first. Without surprise, Tsunade did just that. Punching the roof on which they stood, a loud noise was heard throughout the stadium. Dust and debris decorated the area. Senzaru, who was still in the containment barrier, found that he, along with the shinobi that were holding the jutsu in place, were now on the ground and unharmed. After the dust settled, the roof was in complete rubble. Looking around, Tsunade was curious to know where her enemy was. "Where are you, Aizu?" Tsunade was on high alert. Her senses kicked in, she had discovered his location. Swinging around with her fist cocked back, she launched a punch at the man who appeared behind her, swinging his sword at her head. Aizu smiled. Is she serious? This sword is going to cut through. When Aizu heard the sound from the impact of his sword against Tsunade's fist, he was stunned. Senzaru, who was watching from the barrier, was also stunned. How? It should have cut right through her. Senzaru said to himself out loud. Aizu was thinking pretty much the same thing. His thoughts were interrupted by a forceful kick that sent him flying clear across the stadium. The only thing that stopped him from going further was the stadium wall. In the stands, Asuma, Kurenai, Genma, Aoba, Baki, and Tenzu landed next to each other. Asuma looked up to the sky to see the hawk circle in the air over the stadium. Taking out a cigarette and lighting up, Asuma took a long drag. Blowing out the smoke that he inhaled, he spoke in a tone of relief. Looks like everyone that's alive has been evacuated to safety. Kurenai, who was looking at Tsunade, nodded. So it would seem. Switching the senbon in his mouth from his left to his right, Genma spoke. Clean up should be easy enough. Most of the Rock and Rain shinobi retreated after seeing Naruto and that guy Shinji over. Wait, where the hell did he go? Yamato shrugged. I don't have the slightest, but I get what you were trying to say. He did help reduce the numbers significantly here. I don't know where he went, but I'm sure he probably went to check on his cousin or help reduce the enemy numbers. Baki spoke. Leave it to Konoha to get others to fight on its behalf. Seriously though, that guy is strong. I'm not sure if I could take him. He's on a level that only your Kazekage is on. Yamato pointed out. Baki nodded. Yes. I wonder if all from the Manashu clan were that strong. Well, since they're dead, I'm assuming not. But then again, they were caught off guard, so who knows for sure. That's not important right now, we have to stay on alert and make sure nothing happens to Hokage-sama, Aoba stated. Down in the ring, Tsunade watched the rubble that Aizu was buried under. Don't tell me you're scared of me, Raikage-sama. What happened to the confident man that stood before me? What? Are you still reveling in the shock of having your sword blocked by my fist? Tsunade's brow elevated slightly when black flames erupted from the rubble, destroying it completely. Standing where the rubble once was, Aizu flashed a smirk at Tsunade. That smirk, however, quickly changed to a frown. To come this far against me and stop my sword, you truly are worthy of being recognized as the Hokage, Sannin, and the great ninja that you have been seen as. The only people to have ever pushed me this far was Kuin, your son over there, and Raiho. Pushing me this far is really commendable. However, your greatness and skill will only carry you so far against me. Allow me to show you, Aizu said as flames rose even higher around him. Chuan slipped into a fighting stance. The red energy outline around her body color intensified. The seals on her face started to glow as well. In the stadium, Genma, who was watching from his location, said, this should be fun to watch. Everyone couldn't help but to agree. Outside of the village, logs and leaves decorated the ground. The sun was shining brightly in the sky, and it looked calm and peaceful. Naruto, on the other hand, found himself dodging a punch that he barely avoided. Naruto followed up quickly with a kick, which Kuin shielded himself from by using his left forearm to block the kick. Quickly grabbing Naruto's leg, he swung him around and threw him into a nearby tree. When Naruto hit the tree, 6 kunai were immediately embedded into his body. The Naruto that hit the tree turned into a log. Kuin inhaled the air around him. When he found Naruto's scent, he punched a hole in the ground and pulled Naruto out by his hair. Holding a stunned-looking Naruto, he looked the boy in his eyes. "Come on Naruto, don't disrespect me and fight me like you would Kumoko." Naruto smirked, "Sorry for treating you like a weakling." Naruto's transformation faded to reveal that what Kuin really was holding onto was a Fuma Shuriken. Kuin turned around and threw the shuriken at Naruto, who appeared about 6 meters above. Naruto threw a kunai to knock away the shuriken. Kuin, however, smirked once again. Using his right foot, Kuin performed a backward roundhouse kick to the real Naruto, sending him back in the direction from which he came. Naruto used his hands to stop himself by placing him onto the ground and pushing up off his hand to complete the backflip. Naruto landed in a crouching position using his right hand for support. Naruto watched as Kuin looked at him as if he was bored and not impressed at all. He was trying to figure out how Kuin knew where he was always located. This guy is better than I thought. My shadow clones are completely useless against him. I have to analyze the situation more to develop a strategy to fight him. I could use Harassment, but there is a weakness due to the fact that I haven't completed it. Against anyone else the Harassment would work, but against him, he would exploit it. For now I will use the method I developed for Sasuke. Kuin could see Naruto calculating his next move. He spoke, "I guess you realize that your Kage Bunshin is useless against me. As for that Harassment kunai you threw to deflect that shuriken, I wouldn't try to use that technique. From what I have observed, I can tell that technique has a major weakness." Naruto didn't show any emotion, but he was stunned nonetheless. He decided to try and trick him into thinking that the technique wasn't flawed. "You think the Harassment is flawed, do you? Well, I do believe your version is flawed, not the creator of the technique version. You see Naruto, Kumoko wasn't able to see the difference for one simple reason: your speed outclasses hers completely. At first I was impressed and wondered how I could stop you with a technique like that in your arsenal. Then I noticed the weakness." Kuin explained. "You really think that there is a weakness in?" Naruto was cut off. Kuin continued his explanation. "The flaw I noticed you have is that you can only teleport within a 1-meter radius of the kunai's location. The shinobi that was standing within the range of the kunai, you teleported to them without using the kunai as medium. However, those who were not within the radius of the kunai, you used your speed to move toward them, once you teleported back to the kunai of course. You kept teleporting the kunai, then used your speed to go to the next person that was not within the radius. If they were all within the radius, I wouldn't have discovered this weakness. That kunai behind me is 3 meters away, which means, once you teleport to it you will have to shunshin to me. Do you really want to take the chance of doing that against me?" Naruto closed his eyes then smirked. He opened his eyes. "What makes you think I need the Harassment to beat you? Well, it seems like your trump card just didn't want you thinking that it was. None of your cheap tricks will work on me. I'm tired of this game. Transform already, or do you still need for me to prove that I am your superior in our base forms?" Naruto laughed at the comment. "You really think you are superior? You guys from Cloud Shore are a cocky bunch, that's for sure. You really do overestimate yourself." Realizing what was going on, Kuin jumped forward and performed a battle roll. This was to avoid Naruto, who broke through the ground with his fist aimed at where Kuin's chin would have been. Kuin looked back at the clone, then at Naruto. "How? There can't be two. Wait, the one behind, it's a clone. I got distracted talking. He switched during our conversation, pointing out his weakness." Kuin turned back to Naruto, the one who busted from the ground, was now in a black tank top shirt, and smiled. Throwing a shuriken at the clone, Kuin noticed the clone dispersed, but the jacket and the swords Naruto had on his back were pinned to a nearby tree. Naruto spoke. "Now I see how you were tracking me. It should have been obvious. Your Bayu being a dog, you have enhanced smell. Tracking me was easy because you smelled me a mile away. I had my suspicions when you were shocked to see my clone turn into a shuriken. The reason was because the scent from my hand was all over that kunai. What confirmed it is when I attacked you and you kicked me. Before I attacked, I saw you inhale twice, to pick up my scent. That's when I knew you were tracking me by scent. From what I can tell, your nose is stronger than Kiba's and Kakashi, which means I can't fight you like I would fight them or any other opponent, I have to take it up a notch. Kuin pointed to the tree that the swords and the jacket was pinned to. Shouldn't you get your sword? I'm sure you would feel more comfortable fighting with your sword. Naruto moved his neck from side to side, causing it to crack with each movement. Don't worry, I'm an all-around shinobi. Besides, it wouldn't be fair. You don't have a sword and I don't want there to be any excuses when I win. If you lose, there will be no shadow of a doubt who is the better of the two. Kuin smiled. I like you, Naruto. Fighting you is going to be more than fun. Naruto returned the smile as he slipped into a fighting stance. Likewise. The two warriors waited for a few seconds. In a split second, the two charged at one another. When their fist connected with one another, the force caused the ground beneath them to break up and create a dust cloud that swallowed them up. Both warriors had one goal in mind, and that was winning. Somewhere outside of the village, fighting the strongest and surviving until he came face to face with Itachi was what drove Sasuke to be better. That, and the fight at the Valley of the End with Naruto. Itachi, a goal he had long accomplished, had given him some validation and assurance of his own ability. In fact, it might have given him too much. Imagine the feeling he had when he lost to Naruto, the only person besides Itachi that he ever saw as obstacle that he needed to pass in order to prove himself he was the strongest. That loss forced Sasuke to train harder in hopes to fight Naruto once again, but this time have the battle go in his favor instead. Sasuke thought that Kuin would be another opponent that would test him. He never thought anyone else from Cloud would have the ability to test his skill, besides the Raikage. That was until he found himself dodging every strike that Kadan threw at him. Shit, he's too fast for me. Even with the Sharingan, I don't have enough speed to react to his movement. I'm going to have to use the curse seal. Using his sword to shield him from the strike Kadan performed with his left hand, which had a blade-like appendage coming from the forearm. The force of the strike sent Sasuke crashing to the ground hard. Kadan landed on an elevated plane, performing a few seals. A green orb generated in his hand. The green orb shot from his hand like lightning. Kadan cracked a smile when the technique made contact. It only took a few seconds for the dust to settle. When it did, it caused him to frown. His technique actually made contact with a large snake that shielded Sasuke. He also noticed the black marks that covered Sasuke's body. The Uchiha activated the first level of the Curse Seal of Heaven. Sasuke felt the power-up he achieved in this form coursing through his veins. This should be enough to win this battle. Using his speed, Sasuke appeared directly in front of Kadan. Performing an upward slash, Sasuke was certain this would end it. That was until Kadan used the appendage in his forearm to stop the sword. This caught Sasuke off guard slightly, as he was expecting the sword to cut him completely in half. Sasuke regretted his brief second of shock. The tail from the tar-colored monster struck him head-on. The strike caused the Uchiha to lose the control of his sword, sending him and Kusanagi in opposite directions. Sasuke landed on his feet. The Sharingan caught the image of a fist and Sasuke jumped to the side, only to see Kadan appear at a speed that he couldn't follow. It was his luck that the Sharingan caught the image. Had it not been for the Sharingan and the curse seal, he would have been struck hard. The Cloud Shinobi was on the assault. Sasuke was doing everything to block, while thinking up of a way to end this. Shit, this guy is stronger than I anticipated. I don't want to activate level 2. That's going to be a drain on my chakra. I can beat this guy without going that far. I can just outsmart him. Let's see. He favors hand-to-hand, which is suicide against the Uchiha clan, unless your speed completely surpassed theirs, which his does at the moment. I could use a genjutsu to buy me some time, but I don't think it would matter on him. Chidori is always good, but I can only use 5 of those and I don't want to waste any. How about, I could use that, but I was actually saving that for Naruto. I just have to get him in position. Sasuke formulated his plan to take Kadan down. All that was left was to put the plan into action. He couldn't do that if he was constantly dodging his attacks. Moving his head to the side slightly, Sasuke's cheek got scrapped as the blade-like appendage skinned him. Sharp. I have to be extra careful. Sasuke used all of his speed to put some distance between himself and Kadan. Standing about 20 feet away from Kadan, he observed his movements. Sasuke needed her to trick him. He wanted to save level 2 as a last resort. As for the Mangekyo, he wouldn't use that for this fight no matter what. The lone member of the Uchiha clan was calculating his next move, however, Kadan wasn't waiting for him to come up with a plan. The soot-colored monstrosity appeared behind the Uchiha. Sasuke's eye widened at the speed displayed before him. He tried to turn to catch Kadan but he couldn't dodge the kick placed in his stomach. Following up with an uppercut, Sasuke was lifted a few inches off of the ground which allowed Kadan to grab him by the throat and forcefully slam him into the earth in which they stood, making a dent in the form of his body. Sasuke was held down by Kadan. With his free arm, Kadan cocked it back and stopped. He smiled at Sasuke. Looks like the Uchiha clan will be no more after this. Sasuke glanced to his right to see his sword stuck in the dirt a few feet away. Sasuke signaled for the sword to come to him. The weapon slowly lifted out of the dirt. As he motioned for it to come to him with 2 fingers, the sword sped towards Sasuke. The fist Kadan had cocked back was brought down with the intention to smash Sasuke's head. However, his fist made contact with Kusanagi. While the sword was suspended in air and acted as a divider between Sasuke's face and Kadan's fist, Sasuke used his time to knock Kadan's hand off of his neck. Once he was free, he shushened out of view. Kadan jumped high in the air when he saw 3 large snakes break from the ground. Shooting towards him, Kadan realized that they were a distraction because he lost sight of the sword. Turning around quickly, he avoided a slash from Sasuke, who only smirked. Landing on one of the snake's head, Sasuke thrusted the sword forward and channeled Chidori in his sword, using it as an anchor to extend towards Kadan. Blocking with the appendage on his forearm, Sasuke noticed that Kadan moved his arm quickly away. Focusing his eyes on the spot that the blade connected with, Sasuke saw a small cut which brought a smile to his face. I knew it. Kadan landed on the ground. Going through hand seals that Sasuke recognized, he quickly jumped off of the snake. Multiple lightning strikes rained down simultaneously. Using his sword as a shield, Sasuke was slammed into the ground. Upon contact, the area exploded. When the dust settled down after a minute or so, Kadan was standing high above the crater that was created from the strike with his arms folded. That Uchiha, he would have been a problem for us. But I'm curious though, Itachi seemed much stronger. Not even Kuin seemed like a match against him when we confronted him and Akatsuki about 6 years or so ago. He and Kisame could have taken Kuin then and there had Aizu not shown up. Even then, Aizu-sama wasn't sure if he could have taken Itachi. That made me cautious of the power that the Uchihas possessed, but looking at him, it's hard to see how he even beat Itachi. I was expecting more. This is disappointing. I will go to the stadium and aid Aizu-sama. Kadan turned to walk away. He stopped when he heard, Kaiten, Gokaikyu no Jutsu, turning back toward the crater. He could now see a large fireball racing toward him. Kadan dissipated the jutsu with one hand. He saw Sasuke standing in his curse seal level 1 form with not even a scratch on him. Kadan was certain that technique would finish Sasuke, so why was he standing before him unharmed? He looked at Kusanagi and attributed it to the sword. He couldn't have been more wrong. Sasuke noticed him looking at the sword. He must think the sword saved me from that jutsu. He's not a very good analyst. Well, it could be that I've only used taijutsu and a few kaitens, so it would be hard for him to determine that lightning is my nature element and that Chidori Nagashi also acts as a shield. One thing is certain, I can't beat him with level 1. I could finish this by using the Mangekyo with the CS1, but I won't. I will finish him in CS2. The Mangekyo itself might be enough, but I don't want to take the chance. I'm not sure if Susanoo will outclass him or fight him on an even level. I doubt it, seeing as I was even with Naruto without his gravity seals. The Mangekyo in CS1 is overkill, something that I would have to use on Naruto when he's using that red chakra. So I guess CS2 will be more than strong enough. Sasuke spoke, I see you looking at my sword. You think that it saved me, correct? Well, how about this? Sasuke cast the sword aside. The seals on his body started to glow a fiery red. Slowly, the seals started to spread until they covered his body completely. His skin started to slowly turn brown. His hair started to grow in length, turning a grayish blue. His scleras turned black, making his Sharingan look more menacing. The last thing that happened was the wings that extended from his back. Sasuke was now in his Curse Seal level 2 form. Kadan wondered what just happened. What this transformation? I didn't know the Curse Seal was capable of this. Sasuke smirked at the expression that framed the Cloud Shinobi's face. The transformed Uchiha wasted no time in blurring out of Kadan's view. Appearing in front of Kadan, Sasuke planted a fist in his abdomen. Kadan didn't even have time to register the pain, he was still in awe at Sasuke's increased speed. Shunshing out of sight, Sasuke appeared from behind before he could react and placed a sharp kick in his back that sent him flying upward. Using the wings that he gained in his Curse Seal form, Sasuke took to the air, flying past Kadan, who was still going up. Forming chakra in his hand, creating a chakra blade, Sasuke brought his hand down in a fast swinging motion with the hopes of cutting Kadan in half. Kadan, however, had different plans. The green orb formed in his hand, thrusting it forth to shield himself from Sasuke's blade, forming explosion blue and green in the sky. Landing on a nearby cliff, Kadan narrowed his eyes at Sasuke, who landed a few feet away. So you think you can toy with me by hiding your strength? I will make you wish you were stronger. I'm going to kill you. Balling his hands into a fist, he spread his arms out a little, making it so that his fists were leveled with his hips. Green aura erupted from his body. Blade-like appendages appeared on both the front and back of his forearm, coming to a total of 4 blades on each of his forearms. The green marks that were covering his body glow intensified. Horns sprouted from his head. Kadan now looked like a demon. Sasuke could sense that his level was increasing. This guy, I didn't want to use that just yet, but he's leaving me with no choice. Bringing his hand forth, green chakra generated in his open palm, which was aimed at Sasuke. The appendages that extended past his hand acted as focal points for the energy he was gathering. When he was done gathering the chakra, he grabbed his right wrist with his left hand to help him aim the jutsu. Sasuke immediately performed Chidori, what looked like lightning shot from the green orb aimed at the Uchiha. Thrusting his left hand forward to counter the blast, the Chidori made contact with the lightning. This caused another explosion that created a dust cloud. Kadan was standing with a smug look on his face. He was certain that Sasuke got the wrong end of the deal on that attack. However, he was shocked to see Sasuke standing with arm extended forward and smoke coming from his hand. Sasuke could feel the surging pain in his hand. He wasn't expecting that attack to be of that level. Sasuke knew that he had to bring this battle to a close soon. He wanted to do something, but the only technique that came to mind was the one he was saving for Naruto. He had no choice. Sasuke held his hand out in front of him. He looked at Kadan. You're strong. No more games, let's end this now. Kadan watched as chakra orb formed in Sasuke's hand. He could feel the concentration of chakra in this orb. This would be good. He could use his jutsu as well. The green chakra covered his body once more, as if he was powering up. He, however, was preparing for his final attack. Bringing both arms forth, green electricity began to form, dancing in between both palms. Kadan spoke, "This is the end, Uchiha. No turning back. This technique will leave nothing of you." Sasuke, who was still forming his blue chakra orb, smirked. Funny, I was thinking the same thing. The blue orb that formed in his hand started to red. Okay Sasuke, you're adding elemental chakra to form manipulation. This isn't the Rasengan, which seemed impossible to add nature to, but this should do. My jutsu, this was originally for you Naruto. Too bad you won't be the first to see it, oh well. Kadan watched as the orb in Sasuke's hand changed from white to red. He had gathered enough of the energy he would need for his attack. This will end it. I will be joining you soon, Aizu-sama. We will bring down the leaf together. A concentrated wave of lightning shot from concentrated spot that Kadan was focusing his energy on. Aoi Reiku, he said, the jutsu in his head. Seeing the incoming attack, Sasuke forced a concentrated beam to come from the red orb. Kyoku. The beam that shot from Sasuke's orb expanded out, growing in height and width as it headed towards Kadan's, Aoi Reiku. The two techniques were on course to connect. When they made contact, a big explosion occurred that could be seen by all in and near Konoha. Hokage Mountains. Iruka, who was welcoming the new arrivals, looked around to see where Hayami, Yumi, and the others went. He kept searching for them but couldn't find them anywhere. Then it finally hit him. He slapped his forehead. Those idiots, why the hell did they leave? This could turn out to be disastrous. In the village, Makinu, along with Futeki, Akuru, Yasumi, Hayami, Yumi, and an injured Ranpu all headed towards the stadium. Makinu and the other genin knew Konoha's layout, so they took the route that the enemy wouldn't know. While walking, Hayami stopped to look at the explosion that she heard. Looking at the sky, they saw a big mushroom cloud. Ranpu activated his Byakugan. Seeing Sasuke and Kadan currently in a standoff, he spoke, "It seems Uchiha Sasuke is in a standoff with that shinobi from the cloud. I didn't recognize him Sasuke, he has transformed into some weird bat-like creature. If it wasn't for his Sharingan I wouldn't have known it was him." Hayami hoped Sasuke would be okay. She tapped Ranpu who looked down at her. "Yes, what is it? Can you see Naruto Nisan and Shinji Ni? I want to know how they are doing." Hayami asked. Focusing his Byakugan, he scanned the area. He found his cousin, Hinata being supported by Shinji. He scanned the area once again, this time extending his range only to find Naruto and Kun engaging in an intense taijutsu match. He deactivated his Byakugan. Shinji is with Hinata at the Hyuga compound and Naruto is currently fighting that shinobi that he left with earlier. Either way, we have to get going. Yumi was worried about Naruto the most. She could feel something wasn't right, but she couldn't place it. She just hoped that he would be okay. Makinu motioned for them to hurry up, she did just that. The group headed towards the stadium. In the stadium, Konohamaru landed next to his uncle in the stands, who was watching the match between Tsunade and Aizu. Hanabi, Mogi, Matsuri, the Leaf One, and Udon landed next to him. It was obvious that they were in a battle, one that looked like it was hard fought. Asuma glanced at Konohamaru. "Looks like you had one hell of a fight." Konohamaru nodded. "Yay, nothing that I can't handle. But more importantly, how is Tsunade-sama faring?" Asuma took a puff his cigarette then answered, "She's actually keeping up with this guy. I expected nothing less from her." "What about Naruto, where is he?" Genma spoke. "The kid harassed out of the stadium a while ago. I have no clue where he's at." Hanabi, who had her Byakugan active, spoke. "He's currently fighting that blue-haired shinobi from Cloud." Konohamaru pumped his fist in the air, but fell to ground immediately due to the sudden rush of pain in his chest. Hanabi knelt down to see if he was okay. "Konohamaru, are you okay?" she asked with a worry look. Glancing at her, with a look in his eyes that made his pain visible, "I'm fine Hanabi-chan. I guess I overdid it back there. You idiot, I told you not to try to do more than what you can. Don't worry, I'm just happy Naruto Nisan is here. He's going to kick that guy's ass. I wonder how Hayami and the others are doing though." Konohamaru wondered. Activating her Byakugan once more, she frowned once she found their location. It seems that they are heading toward the eye of the storm. Kurenai spoke, "So they're heading back to this location, foolish. What about the enemy forces? I assume that the counter-strike is currently in effect." Hanabi nodded, "So it would seem. The rest of our shinobi, along with Waterfall, Suna, and Grass are forcing the enemy to retreat. The ones that remain are falling one by one." Baki, who had his eyes glued to the match, said, "Good. But even though the enemy is retreating I still have a bad feeling about this fight. For some reason, the Raikage doesn't seem too worried." Asuma spoke. "He should be. Tsunade is fighting against his sword with her bare hands. This sword is one of the 4 swords of legend, in the hands of a capable shinobi, yet it is having no effect on the Hokage. She is truly amazing." Hanabi watched the fight closely. The sound of the other conversation was muffled by her own thoughts. She is amazing, that much is true. However, I wonder how long she and that jutsu can last. If a hammer hits the same spot with enough force, surely that spot will crack sooner or later. I just wonder how much time Tsunade-sama has before she cracks. Hanabi continued to watch, waiting to see. Somewhere outside of the village, Sasuke and Kadan were both struggling for supremacy. The technique Sasuke was using was a jutsu that he had just created a few weeks ago. The initial technique was just an orb that he named Dainaki. He wanted something to decimate Rasengan, and Dainaki was that jutsu. He also saw potential in this technique as well, much like Chidori. Using the same method for his chakra blade, Sasuke was able to create Kyoku. Now he watched as it stood toe-to-toe with Kadan's jutsu. Focusing chakra into his beam, Sasuke could feel the ground underneath him giving way. Slowly his feet started to sink into the ground. Sasuke's thoughts were flashing all over the place. From Naruto, to Sakura, to Kakashi, and Hayami, they were all over the place. He couldn't lose here. No, the only person he would lose to or allow himself to lose to was Naruto. Also, he had to help out with the war, his power was needed. Sasuke never was one to care for anyone really, that was until Team 7 came into his life. Then he traded that for power. Now he has the power, and finds himself needed by a village, that his family, the Uchiha clan swore to protect. He couldn't lose. He was the last of his lineage, he had to make sure that the Uchiha clan would be reborn. With the Sharingan spinning wildly, Sasuke reaffirmed his stance. Pumping more chakra into his technique, the beam expanded more in width and length. Both warriors began to scream until there was a large explosion. This explosion created a mushroom cloud that was seen by all of the shinobi. Somewhere in Fire Country, the group of mist shinobi that were traveling stopped when Savia came to an abrupt stop. With Kaito over her shoulder, she turned back to look at the mushroom cloud. She turned to one of her comrade, make sure that he gets the medical attention that he needs. I will be back in the village in 3 days tops. Everyone move out. The group did just that. Savia looked at the direction of Konoha. I won't interfere unless I'm needed. I got a feeling that I'm going to be needed though. Using her speed, the blue-haired shinobi disappeared from her spot. Her next destination, the village hidden in the leaves. Somewhere in Konoha, Neji and his squad were making quick work of all of the remaining shinobi. Everyone could go all out without having to worry about the others. Shino was taking down a number of enemy nins with his bugs. Neji's Juken was probably the best in the Hyuga, so unless his opponent was someone close to Naruto in level, they stood no chance. Tenten slaughtered a myriad of nins with her weapon scroll. The Anbu squads that were responsible for taking down the enemy shinobi as well as defending the citizens went on the offensive. This war was slowly turning in the favor of Konoha and its allies. Landing on a building, Neji took a deep breath. Lee, Tenten, Shino, Kiba, and Ino landed next to him. 3 more Anbu squads appeared around them. One of the masked men spoke. Captain, we have eliminated the bold threat, however, we took substantial losses to drive them back. Neji didn't show his emotion but he hated when a leaf shinobi life was taken. He quickly regained his composure. This is war, losses are to be expected. We can't focus on the losses, we have to focus our attention to the here and now. Save who we can and then aid the Hokage. From what I can tell, Mist, Rock, and Rain have called a full retreat. There are still Cloud Shinobi fighting but for the most part, they won't be for long. The tide has swung in our favor. Landing in front of Neji, Yugao addressed the group, we have completed our objective. Our goal now is to aid our fellow shinobi and drive the enemy as far from Konoha as possible. Everyone, except my squad and Neji's squad move out. Without hesitation, everyone moved out. She turned Ino, it seems our friend is stabilized from what I gathered, but he is injured pretty bad. Either way, we have to get back to the stadium. Everyone nodded. When Yugao headed out, everyone except Neji and Lee left. Lee turned to his friend, what's the matter Neji? Neji shook his bad feeling off, nothing, let's move out. The two disappeared from view. Neji was worried about Naruto, and a worried Neji was never a good thing. Somewhere near the village, Sakura, Shikamaru, Temari, and Anko were taking down shinobi after shinobi. Sakura was getting low on chakra. After healing shinobi, summoning, fighting Kumoko, and fighting some more, she was getting tired. Shikamaru, who never had a really high chakra level to begin with, was using his wit. The fact of the matter was that everyone was getting a little tired. When Anko, who seemed to have the most energy, took down the final shinobi, the group was thrilled. Shikamaru fell on his back, we need a break. Sakura, who was standing, responded, we can't rest, did you see that explosion? That chakra it was. Sasuke, we know. I know you want to make sure he's okay but we can't worry about Sasuke or anyone for that matter. We all have a mission and that's to make sure that the village is protected. We have to get to the stadium. Anko stated. Sakura was about to go off on her own until Shikamaru grabbed her ankle. Sakura, this is Sasuke we're talking about. Do you really think he would die? Last I remember he still wants that fight with Naruto and I don't think he will die until he gets a rematch. A worried Sakura stopped for a second to think about what Shikamaru said. He was right. She was needed elsewhere. Not only was she worried about Sasuke, she was worried about Naruto as well. Sakura turned her back on the group to look in the direction the mushroom cloud was in. Please be okay, Sasuke, you too, Naruto. Somewhere outside of the village, Naruto was breathing hard. His only thought was Kuin was good, no, he was great. Naruto glanced at the mushroom cloud that was dying down. Sasuke, I wonder if he won. He had to win, that guy is too stubborn to die. Kuin, who was also breathing slightly hard, was finding Naruto to be more than a match. Most shinobi couldn't keep up with him in his base form, and the ones that did usually had to use a technique that increased their power, much like Kadan's transformation and Sasuke's curse seal. He knew that they would get nowhere if this continued. He glanced at the mushroom cloud as well, wondering if Kadan was dead. In all honesty, he didn't care. If he was weak enough to die, then he deserved it, which was his theory about everyone that fought, himself included. He really wanted to test his abilities, and to do that they would need to call on the powers granted to them by their Beiyu. Kuin knew that he would have to be the one to initiate this. Naruto was content with fighting the way he was. Kuin, however, wasn't, because both of them were stronger than this. He would get the battle he wanted. Naruto had no choice when it came to that. Worried about your friend? Don't worry, if you lose you will be joining him. Kuin gained Naruto's attention once again. In a calm tone, you're wrong. Sasuke isn't dead. He may be a pompous ass, but Sasuke is strong, as much as I hate to admit it. But let's not worry about what's going on with the matches of others. Naruto slipped back into a fighting stance. Let's worry about our own battle. Still having fun. Smirking, Kuin slipped back into a fighting stance. You're right, however, I plan to turn it up a little so we can have a little bit more fun. You will have no choice, Naruto. Naruto noticed the grey chakra leaking from Kuin. His eyes widened slightly. He's calling on his Beiyu. This isn't good at all. Naruto watched as the grey chakra took on the form of a dog with one tail. His yellow eyes turned gold and the pupils remained round. Much like the Kyuubi transformation, Kuin's fangs were now visible and his fingernails and toenails became pointed. Speaking in a slightly deeper voice, you will have no choice, Naruto. Here are your options: transform and fight me, or don't transform and die. But you should know that if you die, so will your girl, the Manashu kid, and all of your other friends. So what will you do, Naruto? Naruto closed his eyes. I don't want to use the fox, but to fight a Beiyu, another Beiyu is needed. I've come this far not to have anyone else I care for die, so be it. Kuin smiled when the red chakra surrounded Naruto's figure. When the man known to all as the Golden Fox opened his eyes, he revealed that the red had replaced the blue and the pupils were now slits. Both warriors were in their one-tailed forms. Naruto knew his limits. He would have to keep that in mind or risk everything. The Gobi container couldn't have been any more thrilled. He was finally going to be tested. Outside of the village, the dust settled and there was nothing in sight, well, except to figures that lay on the ground. Sasuke was now back in his regular form, and so was Kadan. Both shinobi were drained of their chakra. Sasuke used every ounce of energy that he had to pick himself up off of the ground. With his Junin vest completely destroyed, the only thing that remained was a tattered black Uchiha shirt. With small cuts and smudges of dirt covering his face, Sasuke walked, well, more like limped over to Kadan holding his left shoulder. When he reached the man, Sasuke could see that Kadan was in much worse shape. Since Sasuke's technique won the battle of supremacy, Kadan was on the losing end. Laying on the ground with his shirt completely gone, body covered in blood, and burns all over his body, he laughed. Seems like cough I won't get to see cough Aizu-sama's dream come true. It doesn't matter, I did my part. Sasuke used his right hand to signal for Kusanagi. When the sword arrived, he grabbed it. Looking down at Kadan, whatever he's planning, I will stop it. You fought well. I had to go the level 2 of my curse seal form to beat you, however, I didn't go all out. Kadan eyes widened. Impossible. Cough, you're bluffing. Sasuke shook his head. The fact of the matter is I am low on energy right now. But the truth is that level 2 was all that was required to fight you. Trust me when I say that level 3 is much more than what was necessary. In addition to the power granted to me from the advanced form of the Sharingan, which wasn't needed as well, would have given me the power necessary to fight Aizu. Sasuke's thoughts were a little different. I can't fight Aizu now even if I wanted, I don't have enough chakra to do much of anything. Well, I could go level 3, but that would put too much of a strain on my body. If I activate the Mangekyo in that form, it will also drain my chakra much faster. I would be putting myself at risk. So I guess I am bluffing, but he doesn't need to know. Kadan laughed. It doesn't matter cough cough how strong you are, Aizu-sama will win. His cough cough, power is beyond anything conceivable. You are all going to die. Too bad I won't see it. Sasuke raised his sword high above his head. Yes, it is too bad. Bringing it down with swift force, Sasuke pierced Kadan's heart. Watching the Cloud Shinobi eyes widen as he coughed up blood, Sasuke slowly removed the sword. He watched as Kadan's head fell back. When his head went limp and fell to the right, Sasuke knew that his fight was over. Falling to one knee while using his sword as a brace, Sasuke looked towards the direction Naruto was fighting. Naruto, his power, he's using that red chakra. What the hell is the source of that chakra? I need to regain my energy. Once I do, I will head over to his location. Sasuke continued to rest on one knee. He would need to regain his energy or he would be useless, and Sasuke was anything but useless. He wondered if Sakura was okay. Sasuke reassured himself that she was. Sasuke continued to rest. Just about 20 minutes and he would be good to go. Somewhere outside of the village, Naruto used the chakra hands granted to him by the Nine Tails to punch Kuin, who jumped over the fist and watched as it crashed into the ground. While in the air, Kuin decided to use a wind jutsu and fire jutsu combo, Fuyuten, Ichigen. The wind came toward Naruto, however Naruto noticed Kuin formed a tiger seal, and then performed a fire jutsu that was strengthened by the wind. The whole area was covered in a blaze of fire. Naruto jumped out of the fire unharmed with his fist balled up and cocked back. When he reached Kuin, he launched a punch at his face which was blocked, but the force sent Kuin towards the ground. When he landed, Kuin performed the same lightning technique that Kadan used on Sasuke. This decimated that area, creating a large explosion. Kuin didn't think for 1 minute Naruto would be taken down by this attack, and his belief was made reality when the smoke cleared and Naruto was standing with his tail wagging from side to side with a menacing look. You truly are strong, you wasn't even harmed by Raiten, Baisu Shurai. Don't understand why you don't want to fight using Ubeyu power. What? Do you hate what you are? Kuin asked. No, I know who and what I am. I am Uzumaki Naruto, and you're just another notch in my belt. Naruto said. Kuin shook his head. You're too confident. Shunshing out of sight, he appeared in front of Naruto, placing a kick in his chin that sent him upward. Doing the necessary hand seals, Kuin shot a lightning strike from his mouth at Naruto. Recovering from the hit, Naruto brought his hand together, Fuyuten, Tikiatsu Tate, a shield of wind that circled his body dispersed the strike. Naruto landed a few feet away from Kuin. Naruto smiled. You favor lightning techniques, which means your affinity is lightning. If it is, I would quit now, you don't stand a chance. Kuin shook his head once again. There you go again, being all confident. It is true that lightning is my affinity, however, so are all of the other elements. Naruto was surprised to hear that. His only response was, you're lying. Shinobi only have one element and the ability to use all elements. It's just not possible to have an affinity for all elements. I didn't think you were the type to limit yourself. Impossible, nothing is impossible. If you must know, it is one of the abilities that my Bayu grants me. You see Naruto, the Gobi has the power to control all elements. His power is my power. Unlike you, who refuse to accept what you are, I have embraced what I am. I have access to power most would kill to have, and what is it I want? Rule the world. Too much work. Be a good guy and save people. You can't save everyone. Fight and be known as the best. Ding, we have a winner. Power is power, Naruto. Whether it's from a Bayu, a man-made source, or even a bloodline, it was something that we should use if we have access to. Otherwise, what's the point of having all of that power if you're afraid to use it? Naruto knew he was right. What good was it to have Kyuubi if he couldn't even use it without worrying about it taking over his body? Naruto knew what could happen if he lost control, and he didn't want to be the one to hurt his friends. But he had no choice. Naruto noticed that Kuin grew a second tail. This worried Naruto greatly, because he knew that he would have to use more of the fox's chakra. Naruto had no choice in the matter. This battle went beyond what he wanted it to. No holding back. The second tail formed and Naruto's facial features became more feral. Using the added power that he had, he performed hand seals stopping at the tiger seal. Taking in a deep breath, Kaiten, Hausenka no Jutsu, multiple fireballs flew at Kadan. The fireballs were much more intense than anything that Sasuke ever did. This was because of the Kyuubi added chakra. Kuin, looking similar to Naruto, except his aura was green and he didn't have slits in his pupil. He watched as the fireballs rushed toward him. Using both his tails, he brought them forth and a strong gust of wind cancelled the jutsu out. His eyes shifted to his right where Naruto appeared. Punching with all of his force, Naruto's punch was blocked. Kuin followed up with a punch that Naruto avoided by tilting his head to the side, which was a good thing because a lightning blast shot out of his fist. Following with another punch to the exposed abdomen, Naruto's fist connected with air. Kuin flipped over his shoulder, however, Naruto used the chakra hands that he gained in the Kyuubi form to grab him. Naruto slammed Kuin into the ground hard. Naruto didn't have time to follow up with an attack of his own, due to the large streams of water shaped as a pack of wolves flying at him. The technique made contact, swallowing Naruto and engulfing the whole area in water. Kuin was standing on one of the tree stumps looking at the mini lake he created below. Using a Raiten jutsu, electricity surged through the body of water. Kuin waited to see if this was all Naruto had or if he had more. A smirk on his face appeared when a two-tailed Naruto shot up through the water appearing about 10 feet behind him. Naruto inhaled, then in one motion exhaled with great force. This force created a bullet of wind that flew at Kuin, who jumped from the stump that was reduced to rubble and everything the wind bullet made contact with. Throwing a punch at Naruto, he dodged then followed up with a kick that connected. Naruto followed up with a punch but found a fist planted in his face that sent him to the ground. Landing on his back, he pushed up off of his hands landing on his feet into a fighting stance. Kuin landed directly in front of him smiling. This is great, isn't Naruto? For the first time in a long time I'm having fun and I don't even know if I can win. Isn't that the best feeling ever? Come on Naruto, you have to enjoy this as much as I do. What? Afraid of losing control? Kuin asked. Naruto only narrowed his eyes. Kuin continued, if that's the case then I will push as far as you can go. If you're afraid to use Kyuubi's powers then you might as well die. Kuin shook his head, I guess you leave me with no choice Naruto. Slowly, the third tail started to form. Naruto was reluctant about going 3 tails. He knew that was getting too close for comfort for him. He made up his mind to stay at the 2 tails form, that was until he heard the Kyuubi's voice, hurry up and go 3 tails. That bastard wolf dog cannot beat me. I don't care if I'm sealed in you, you will not be the death of me. Shut up you bastard fox. I already know I have to go 3 tails. Naruto said to the Kyuubi who was getting on his nerves. Then stop wasting time, hurry up so we can rip this fuckface to ribbons. Naruto closed his eyes. When he opened them, he could feel the power surging through his body. The third tail was forming and he knew that this was the point of no return in this fight. The power between the two would only continue to rise and the fight would only intensify. Naruto could feel the intensity of the chakra that was coursing through his veins. The whisker marks turned into black marks and the eyes became much more fiercer looking. With the third tail formed, the density of the air started to increase. Kuin, who was in his third tail form smiled, seems like you are taking this serious. I must say, that Shinji guy was the last to force me to use all 3 tails. I have a feeling with you I will be going all out. Naruto responded with a loud scream, this sent a shockwave out through the whole area. Charging at Kuin, Naruto used his chakra arms to hit Kuin, who countered with a earth jutsu. The ground in front of him elevated high enough that the fist collided with it. When the fist ripped through, Kuin was gone from his location. Naruto looked around for his location, where are you? Realizing where he was now at, Naruto jumped high in the air and avoided the spikes that rose from the ground covering the field. Looking at Kuin, Naruto could see him standing in an area not covered by the spikes. Doing hand seals at a fast pace, Naruto stopped on the tiger seal and finished off with a kaiten, keiru. However, this time it was much different. Two dragon heads shot out of his mouth and destroyed the earth jutsu and zeroed in on Kuin. When the two dragon heads got near Kuin, he created a tornado of water that erupted from the base of his body, surrounding him completely and acting as a shield. The dragons dispersed upon hitting the water, breaking down into numerous fireballs. Upon making contact with the ground, the balls left small craters where they landed. Naruto landed a few feet away from Kuin, who was smirking. The gray chakra that surrounded his body was sparkling with electricity. Naruto analyzed the situation. He can wield electric attacks better than Kakashi, his fire attacks are stronger than Sasuke, his earth techniques are stronger than Ero Sennin, his water techniques are stronger than Kaito, and his wind techniques are just as good as mine. So this is the power that his Bayu grants. He has enhanced smell, which probably has magnified since his transformation. He has control over all of the elements, and he's smart as well. Definitely not an easy opponent this guy is. Kuin disappeared from his spot. Aiming a punch at Naruto's face, which was blocked by Naruto's fist, Kuin was a little surprised by this. In all honesty, he didn't expect Naruto to react as fast as he did. When a punch from Naruto sent him reeling back slightly, he jumped back to create distance. He analyzed the feral look on Naruto's face, not only that he could feel the Kyuubi chakra on his skin. So this chakra is trying to mix with mine's and leave a negative effect on me. In other words, it's trying to poison me, but my chakra, which is of the Bijuu's nature, is negating it. He is truly strong. We can fight in this form all day, but I want to go all out. I'm close, Naruto, let's see if this is your limit. Kuin's smirk worried Naruto. The host of the Gobi no Hoko began to transform yet again. The fourth tail started to sprout. The gray chakra covered his body and it was starting to mix with his skin. The gray chakra covered every inch of his body, so much that you could see the skin was now completely gray. That wasn't the only thing that was noticeable. He started to slowly grow gray fur and ears on top of his head. Kuin was officially transforming into a wolf dog. The intensity of the chakra didn't go unnoticed by Naruto, who had to hear the fox bug him about advancing to the fourth tail. Naruto had to finish this fight. He had come this far and the point of no return had been crossed about 3 tails ago. Naruto didn't waste any time. Kuin noticed the skin on Naruto's body peel off. The blood that seeped out began to bubble. It formed a shield of blood and chakra, which looked like crimson fur. Naruto hated this transformation. Pain was always involved and it was extreme, but it didn't last long. The fourth tail formed, thus completing the transformation to his mini Kyuubi form. Kuin let out a laugh. Hell yay, this is what I am talking about. Naruto, this is your true self, is it not? The power you have, the power that is at the core of your being, this is what you have been trying to hide. Don't try to hide this magnificent power, let the world see and feel it. Let them know you are in control, not the fox, you. Opening his mouth, Naruto could see a ball of electricity forming in Kuin's mouth. Lightning was discharged from the ball toward Naruto, who slashed the air with his claws. This cancelled out the lightning that was shot at him. Kuin watched as the infamous Nin appeared above him. Naruto brought forth his arm with force, creating a shockwave that Kuin dodged. The ground that Kuin was standing on was now a crater 40 inches deep. Naruto landed inches away from the crater. Looking for Kuin, who was nowhere to be found, Naruto found his opponent when a water dragon mixed with lightning came at him from his side. Kuin was smiling as the dragon made contact with Naruto and forced him back to the ground. His smirk faded once he saw Naruto, holding the dragon by its teeth, land on the ground. Gripping the upper and bottom portions of the lips with his hands, Naruto ripped the face off the dragon, which was ultimately a bad move, since the electricity that was trapped within the dragon and outside of the dragon created an explosion as soon as it was free from the water it was contained within. Kuin's demonic yellow-looking eyes narrowed at what he saw. He didn't believe for a second Naruto was dead, so that wasn't what made him nervous. What really got him was the fact that Naruto stopped his dragon, that would have obliterated most with ease. I don't believe he stopped Dendu Suiruden with just 2 hands. Uzumaki is stronger than I originally thought. I thought going 4 tails would be more than enough. At this level, I can mix 4 elements into one. I can mix fire, water, earth, and lightning. I will hit you with my ultimate technique in this form. If you can counter this, then I will have no choice but to unleash 5-tail. If not, then this is as far as you could go, which means, I was the better warrior. He could feel the ground shaking throughout the area as he finished his train of thought. Getting a whiff of Naruto's scent, he jumped back to avoid the hands that popped from the ground. Taking his eyes off the hands, he saw Naruto in his 4 tails form at a distance. His attention were brought back to the hands, because an extra set of chakra hands extended from those that protruded from the ground. A large howl echoed from Kuin's mouth, broke the chakra hands down into particles, reducing it to nothing. The hands sticking out from the ground retracted from the ground and back at Naruto's side. Speaking so Kuin could hear, I went further than I wanted, this ends now. Opening his mouth, the energy that was all around both Naruto and Kuin began to gather only inches away from Naruto's mouth to form an ebony-colored orb. Kuin could feel the concentration of the chakra, which pleased him greatly. You never cease to amaze me, Naruto. You're right about one thing though, this ends now. Pieces of stones floated in the air from the ground that was broken beneath him. When the stones were inches above Kuin's palm, they melded together to form a ball. Using fire, the stone was burned, then cooled by the water that encased it. When the stone cooled off, it transformed into a much harder metal. The water continued to surround the orb of metal. The water around the stone expanded. The small orb was now within a big ball of water. Electricity started to form within the ball. The concentration of chakra within the sphere was probably as strong as Naruto's, if not stronger. The black orb that Naruto created was swallowed. The energy traveled slowly to his stomach. His body started to expand, creating a bloated form. Kuin bent his knees and moved his arm into a throwing position. He was preparing to launch himself forward. By doing this and throwing the orb, it would have enough force to counter anything Naruto had planned. Bending down further, he waited for Naruto to act before he countered. With his stomach expanded due to the energy he absorbed, the ball slowly rose from his stomach. With a great exhale, the ball energy exited from his body. Kuin leapt forward. This will be the end, Uzumaki Naruto. Creating enough momentum, he threw the sphere at Naruto. Both opponents hundreds of yards away from one another, watched as the energy contained within the sphere destroyed the ground underneath it and everything that stood in its way. Both spheres collided. A black dome was created upon contact. The size of the dome covered the area and could be seen by all. In the stadium, Senzairu, who was still within the containment seal, saw the dome of energy created, first the Uchiha Kid and now Naruto. Even if they do win their respective battles, they won't be able to take Aizu down. I have to get out of this barrier shield. Carson is holding her own, but for how long? Entering the stadium, Hayami, Yumi, and the others spotted Konohamaru. Hayami was excited to see he was okay. Immediately she yelled out, Konohamaru. When the boy turned to see her and he smiled. However, his smile faltered when he saw a cloud nin appear behind her with a kunai. All of the other genin were unable to react fast enough, not even the Junin present were able to stop the cloud shinobi. A kunai came down upon the unsuspecting girl and in an instant blood was everywhere. Yumi and the others saw blood erupt from the shinobi who fell to the ground dead. Looking around, Hayami was nowhere to be found. Standing on the railing a few inches from Konohamaru was Shinji with his little cousin tucked under one arm and his bloody sword in the other. Hayami blinked and realized she was being held by someone. Looking up, she recognized the face and was more than happy to see this person. Shinji ni. Everyone turned around to see Shinji holding the girl while looking at the sky. Tracing his eyes, everyone focused on the black orb in the distance. Hinata landed next to Hanabi and Konohamaru. It seems Naruto-kun is fighting a tough battle. Shinji spoke. Yay, he's fighting that guy from Cloud. He really must. Shinji didn't get a chance to finish due to his circulation being cut off by the little girl. Shinji ni, I'm so glad you're back. I missed you so much. Where did you go? Are you okay? He looked at the girl and got out, air. Letting go of him, he put the girl down then rubbed her head. I'm glad to see you too, Hayami. More importantly, did you come in contact with Naruto? Yes, we did. Yumi, who was walking up to the group, responded. He actually saved us, Makinu replied. He happens to know a technique that allows him to do teleportation. He really saved us. Ranpu informed everyone. Hinata looked at the Hyuga. Naruto-kun actually mastered the technique. I knew he would. You look hurt, Ranpu-san. Are you okay? I'm fine, Hinata-sama, just fine. The boy informed. Everyone turned when Rin landed next to them with Iruka in tow. Rin spoke, he's not fine, and none of you are fine. You kids are all lunatics. We take our eyes off of you for 1 minute and you just. Yumi spoke in the defense, I'm sorry Rin-san, it's all my fault. I convinced them to bring me back to the stadium. It's just that, well, I can't explain it, but this is where I feel I need to be. Iruka spoke, you shouldn't have gotten them to do that, Yumi. We're in the middle of a war and anything could have happened. You guys could have been killed, then what? Exactly, you're so right, Leaf Shinobi. Everyone turned to see Yokohana standing with Sasam. The shinobi all went on guard, until Rin landed in between them. Don't worry, Yokohana-san and Sasam-chan are two people you don't have to fear. They're not the enemy, Rin explained. Flicking his cigarette off the edge of the rail, Asuma stepped forward, long time Yokohana-heim, it's been a while. The woman nodded, yes, it has been a long time Asuma. What brings you here? If you are here there has to be a reason. Everyone was glued to the conversation between the two. Yokohana's only response was, trust me, you will find out soon enough. When have I been known to reveal my motives this early, Asuma-kun? Kurenai didn't like that tone. It rubbed her the wrong way so much that she stepped up to Asuma and whispered in his ear, who is she and how do you know her? She is the princess of Sun Country. We met during a mission I had with Kakashi and a couple of others. We were ordered to protect her, this was when I was about 17. If she's here, there is a reason, or something she's not telling us. We have no choice but to wait and see. Asuma explained. Yokohana turned to look at the match between Aizu and Tsunade, don't stress over it. More importantly, let's focus on the now. Everyone turned to watch the match. Yumi however watched the black orb that died down. Naruto-kun, please be safe. A few miles away, the after effect of the blast changed the landscape into a desolated area. Two figures remained standing where they were before the spheres made contact and stared the other down. Kun couldn't believe it. His, Yonko Utama, was cancelled out. He was positive that technique would end it all. He is pushing me to my limits, which I like. My jutsus aren't strong enough to kill him. We only break even in our attacks. 5 tails is something I didn't plan on doing, but no choice at all. So be it. Naruto noticed the chakra around Kun intensify. The young fox-looking warrior watched as Kun transformed. Kun's size extended until he was about the height of Shukaku and Soko. Naruto looked up to see him in this form. He knew that he would have to go 5 tails. It wasn't even a matter of should or shouldn't, it was a must. The transformation wasn't complete. Kun started to slowly shrink back his regular size. He now had all 5 tails, and looked much like a miniature Hoko. He wiggled his fingers causing them to crack. The ground beneath him broke up. He smiled, I haven't used this form in a very long time, not since I fought Aizu and lost. Uzumaki, I am in full control of my Bayu. This is what it's like to be in control. Naruto was stumped. For some reason, he knew Kun wasn't lying. The chakra felt just as demonic as Kyuubi's when he came face to face with the demon from time to time. How did you achieve this? Kun laughed, it's simple, I've embraced what I am. Through the hate, the insults, everything that I had to put up with for being Jinchuriki, it helped understand and accept that I am a vessel, but the power doesn't control me. I control it. The fact of the matter is my body had to get strong enough to contain all of the tails and my Bijuu's true form. Being in complete control allows me to determine my size. I personally don't like the 90 feet version of the Gobi, which is why I always shrink down to my regular size. I still can't access all of the Gobi's power, I won't be able to for years. But I can access enough to which I can sustain its true form and all of its abilities. Do you understand any of this, Naruto? Naruto nodded, I understand completely. You do have control, but not access to all of the chakra. Also, your strength determines how much you can do. So if you get any stronger your 5 tails form will be even more powerful, giving you more access to the Gobi's power. I understand this because it's the same with me and the bastard fox. Well, I was hoping not to go this far with you at the risk of everyone's life, but I will have to. I've realized something from this fight, Kun. You are right about one thing. I am in control. Naruto smiled at the five tails Jinchuriki. What's the smile for Uzumaki? For this, crimson chakra bled from Naruto's body, covering a 2-meter radius around his body. His loud scream caused shaking to occur. Kuin wasn't fazed by this at all. His gray chakra surrounded his body as well, but not to such a large degree. Naruto going this far only gave him more joy. This fight was getting interesting, but it would continue until nothing was left. Kuin knew that their power decimate would everything. He watched and waited as five tails formed, so he can access five tails. I wonder if he can access more. Well, judging by his comment, no. He seems to be worried about losing control, and he did seem reluctant about going this far. Well, we will end this now. One attack, no more games. We will see who is stronger. I want to fight him. If I push him further, then I will be fighting Kyuubi, and he isn't the one that I wish to fight. Kuin continued to watch until Naruto's transformation was complete. He spoke loud enough so Naruto could hear. Uzumaki, I know you don't want to stay in this form for too long. You fear what can happen, and personally, I don't care to fight the Nine Tails if he takes control from you. So let's end this in one shot. Naruto was hoping to end this in one shot as well. He knew that he was beyond the point, and any further he would hit six tails and lose control. Naruto held his hand out much like he did when he used the Rasengan. I haven't used this technique as much, but it's just as strong as Rasen Shuriken. I would use that, but combined with the Kyuubi chakra, that technique would make my arm useless for months. It would be the same as when I fought the Akatsuki leader. This is why I created this jutsu. Same effect without the damage. Normally, this jutsu would be blue, but because of the nine tails, it is blood red. But trust me when I say, this will definitely end it all. Naruto said. Kuin watched as little particles of red chakra collected in one area until a ball was formed. Wind started to generate it until one complete ring of wind swirled around the ball. Then a second ring of wind formed. This continued until there were a total of 5 swirling rings around the ball. The red ball was surrounded by sharp edges of wind. This particular technique reminded one of atoms. Kuin performed the same technique as last time, however wind was added to the technique this time. Unlike Naruto's jutsu that looked like atoms, this jutsu was surrounded by about 20 small thin rings of wind. When I access the fifth tail, all elements are within my grasp. This technique is the upgrade of the one used in my four tails form. I hope that little technique of yours will suffice. I will say this though, Naruto, I haven't had this much fun fighting an opponent ever. Either way, it ends now. It's too bad you are standing in my way to my goal. Maybe in a different place, a different time, we could have been friends. But as of right now, raising the sphere above his head, Naruto launched it at Kuin with great force. He used a stream of wind to direct the jutsu. Kuin cocked back his hand, then followed through with enough force that caused his technique to fly. Following Naruto's lead, he used wind to direct the technique. The jutsus collided, but an explosion didn't occur this time. No, both techniques were vying for dominance. With both creators behind their technique and using the wind to force their jutsu to hit the other, it was certain to take a while. And it did. Both fighters continued their stand still for about 10 minutes. Kuin couldn't lose. That was the only thing on his mind. I can't lose, I will win. I have to win. Naruto was thinking the same thing. I can't lose. I won't lose. Hayami, Abar-chan, Mai, Ero Sennin, Kaito, Shinji, Iruka-sensei, Konohamaru, Sakura, Sasuke, Shikamaru, Neji, Kiba, Rin, Kakashi, Shino, Hinata, Naya, Senzaru, Temari, Kankaru, Gaara, and Yumi. They're all counting on me. I can't lose. I won't lose. I will not lose. With one final scream, Naruto put more chakra into his wind stream. When his jutsu started to slowly win, Kuin's eyes widened in shock. He was going to, it was too late. The jutsu sped towards him and connected before he could process the final note of this battle. He had lost. In a big explosion that just further decimated what was left of the barren area, a big red sphere appeared. The rings around the sphere were moving all around the sphere at a speed that was very hard to track. Kuin faded into the sphere, disappearing into Crimson Ball. The ball remained until the jutsu itself died down. When the dust settled, Naruto was still in his five tails form and Kuin was on the ground in his, but it was slowly fading, revealing his real body, which were covered in numerous cuts and gashes. His body was thrashed. One thing was for certain, he wouldn't be fighting anytime soon. With his right arm limp, Naruto slowly walked over to a conscious Kuin who was mumbling, "I lost, I can't believe it. I'm still not strong enough." "Shut up, you fool. What the hell are you talking about?" Naruto, who was now back to normal, also had visible cuts but not to the extent and degree of Kuin's. Kuin smiled at Naruto. "Congrats on your victory, Naruto. That technique you used, what was it called?" Naruto a stern response, "It's a wind release technique that I call, Shippugen Fukuben, it's a jutsu that I've created." "Fascinating technique. Well, I lost, so just make me die a warrior's death and kill me," Kuin said. Naruto's response surprised him, "I will do no such thing, you bastard. Why kill you? What's the point? This fight, from the beginning to test your strength. You lost, which means that I am stronger. Live with that, because it will help you get stronger. Maybe someday, you might be strong enough to beat me." Kuin laughed, "You are weird, Uzumaki. But what's even weirder, had I been in your position I wouldn't have killed you either. I guess we're not the monsters that some think we are. Just so you know, I didn't participate in the Manashu clan's genocide. I was there, but my purpose for being anywhere remains the same. To fight the best the world has to offer, which is why I fought Shinji. You have served your purpose, Uzumaki, and for letting me live you will continue to serve it. You know I will not rest until I beat you. I'm actually looking forward to that match, Kuin," Naruto said with a smirk. Naruto turned to his side to see Sasuke land next to him. "You're kind of late for the party, Sasuke." Sasuke smirked, "Well, I was busy with one of my own." He glanced at Kuin, "Seems like you won your battle as well." "Did you think I would lose?" Naruto said with confident tone. Sasuke closed his eyes and smirked, "I suppose not." He opened his eyes then pointed at Kuin, "What about him, aren't you going to finish him off?" Naruto shook his head, "No. He only wanted to test his abilities, he's no different from you and me. He's not the enemy, he wants to kill Aizu just as much as I do. Speaking of which, is there anything you can tell us about him, Kuin? You already know that he wields the Dragon's Fang, what you don't know is that he is fighting Tsunade now. He is probably making her believe she has a chance, but trust me, she doesn't. Not even a Uchiha, me and you in our five tails form can stand up against him, Naruto. He is that strong. The one person who rivaled his ability is encased in a barrier, a plan constructed by Aizu himself. I've warned Tsunade already. I told her not to fight him. I even warned her about Bolt, all for the purpose of fighting you. Actually it was my mission, but I would have done it regardless. You and the Uchiha over there were supposed to be my measuring sticks. However, Naruto, you took the cake when I found out you had Heaven's Blade and your power worried Aizu greatly. For this reason I wanted to fight you and only you. If I could beat someone that even he was slightly afraid of, then I could stand against the only person to beat me. Now that list has grown by one and I have a feeling that you are going to confront him. I wish I could see that one, but I'm at my limit. Kuin said. Naruto knelt down, "Get stronger, Kuin. When you are stronger come find me." Naruto turned to Sasuke, "That goes for you too, team." Sasuke smirked, "Don't worry, I plan to do just that." Naruto turned when he saw Gaara, Kankuro, and Matsuri land next to him. Gaara looked at Naruto then at Kuin, "So you've defeated the guy who contains the Gobi no Hoko, I see." Naruto nodded, "So it would seem." Kankuro laughed at Naruto, "Look at you, Baka, you look like an idiot. That guy really kicked your ass. At least I'm not clown face." Naruto said, which caused Matsuri to laugh. Sasuke even smirked, having known what they were talking about from his time with Hayami. Gaara walked up to Kuin, "So I was right about you as well, you seem to have control over yours as well. Gaara of the desert, I assume you fought a Waseido and won. But the answer you seek is, how to control your Beiyu, correct?" Gaara didn't even respond. Sasuke however looked at Kuin, "So you're a demon vessel. You were talking to Naruto about controlling it, which means, Naruto has a Beiyu within him as well." Sasuke turned to look at Naruto, "So I see the stories we were told about the Nine Tails weren't all entirely true. That's where your power comes from, interesting." Naruto turned away from Sasuke to look at a cloud shinobi land in the area. 2 Genins and a few Junins landed ready to do battle. Suki noticed Kuin on the ground injured. "Sensei, She yelled out. Naruto's gaze fell upon the new arrivals. You guys know who we are, I'm sure. Fighting us would be suicide. One of the Junins spoke. You clearly are injured, Uzumaki, we can take. Kuin yelled, stop. That's enough. You guys don't stand a chance against him. We are leaving. Naruto looked at Rado. You guys should get him some medical attention. Get him out of here now. Rado watched this man standing before him. So this is the man that my father was worried about. Looking at what he did to Kuin, it's safe to say father has good reason to be worried. The other Junins stepped forth and placed Kuin's arms on their necks. Before they left, Kuin looked at Naruto one last time. Remember what I said during our fight, Uzumaki. Never forget it. Kuin looked at the Junin holding him. Let's go. All of the Cloud Shinobi retreated from the battlefield. Gaara looked at Naruto. Are you sure that was wise? Was it a wise decision when I fought you? Naruto countered with. Gaara didn't say anything except, well, let's head back to the stadium. I'm sure Tsunade could use our help. Okay, just as soon as I find my sword. Naruto saw Heaven's blade, along with his other blade resting in the ground. Walking over to his sword, Naruto went to grab the sword, however his hands never touched the sword. A sudden wave of pain rushed through his body. Naruto let out a loud scream. Falling to his knees, everyone came to his aid. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Hey Dobe, what the hell is the matter? Looking at the Uchiha with red eyes, Sasuke was a little surprised. Naruto whispered two words, get away. The red chakra swallowed Naruto. Matsuri and Kankuro looked on in terror as Naruto started to transform again. It didn't take Naruto long to reach all four tails. 5 tails soon followed. Naruto was doing everything to keep it from going to 6. Somewhere near Konoha, Jiraiya turned to where Naruto was at. Not good. Naruto, you fool. Jiraiya immediately left. Temari knew what that meant. Naruto had unleashed the fox. She was concerned for him. She looked at Shikamaru, who nodded. Sakura grabbed Shikamaru's shoulder. What happened to Naruto? You know something, tell me. Anko placed a hand on her shoulder. You might want to follow us. If anything, your ability might be needed. Sakura didn't have time to ask a question. She had to shunshin to catch up with everyone. Sakura couldn't help but think, Naruto, that demonic feeling chakra. Naruto, what's going on? Somewhere outside of the village. Naya stopped immediately. Shit, I can't let the 9 tails get free. In the village, Neji shook his head. This is bad. You're telling me. This can be disastrous. We have to go. Ino said. Tenten asked, what's going on? Just follow, okay. Neji left without a second's notice. Ino followed immediately. Everyone else was clueless, but they wanted to know what was going on. Shino, however, wasn't. He knew exactly what was happening. Naruto, don't lose control. Somewhere else in the village. Kakashi looked at Guy, who only nodded. In an instant, both Junin left their location instantly. This is bad. If the Kyuubi gets free, there is no way we can stop it. Kakashi knew that if Kyuubi did get free, they would have to do everything they can to keep it out of the village, well, what was left of it, or risk complete annihilation. In the stadium, Tsunade, who was breathing hard, looked at the direction Naruto was in. Kid, fight it. You can't let that beast free. Aizu, who wasn't out of breath at all, glanced at the direction Naruto was in, so he can't control his Bijuu's ability. Kuin must have lost. I guess I can play with her a little longer, then go finish him off. In the stands, Yumi fell to the ground holding her stomach. Hayami ran over to her. Yumi Nichan, are you okay? No, Naruto, he's in pain. It's hurting him. Yumi clutched her stomach tighter as a pain ran through it. Everyone was watching her. Rin looked to the direction in which the demonic aura was coming from, so the bond between you two runs that deep that she feels your pain. Naruto, you have to fight it. You have to take control. Somewhere outside of Konoha, Sasuke, Gaara, Kankuro, and Matsuri watched as Naruto continued to transform. Sasuke activated his Sharingan. As soon as he loses it completely, I will deal with the 9 tails. Sasuke took notice of the sword that was a few inches away from Naruto. He didn't understand why, but the Heaven's Blade was glowing. Sasuke looked at Naruto, who was trying his best to fight it, then back at the sword. Interesting. The Uchiha didn't understand what was going on, but he was certain that the sword was doing something. What? He had no idea. It didn't matter, he would do something as soon as Naruto got out of control. He was waiting, but as he waited he continued watching Heaven's Blade glow. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.